All right, and welcome to another episode of Two Guys, One Level, where two guys talk about all things gaming. I'm your host, Tortuga, accompanied by Pixel.
Hey everyone, how are we doing today?
Yeah,
Excited to be back on the mic here with Tortuga. Bit of a hiatus due to life, but we are ready to kick it back.
yeah, definitely about a year, almost to the T, actually. So thanks for those that checked in on us to make sure the podcast was still ongoing. It always was. Just life happened, but we are here to basically continue talking about all things gaming, which we very much love and enjoy. I was thinking, since we definitely took a whole year off, I don't know if there's anything within that gap that's definitely worth mentioning, especially things that might be reoccurring moving forward. Now that we're back on a regular schedule for the podcast.
Biggest news. I want to say we did discuss the acquisition of Activision by Microsoft, but I don't know
Yep.
if that was just in the chat. I don't know if we did that here in the podcast.
Yep, that was big. It's going to be hard for me to recall exactly what went on the episodes. But yeah, that did happen. Also, I don't know if it was recorded, but definitely worth to mention the big slap to the face that Discord gave Microsoft when Microsoft offered them to purchase, and they said, "Nope, we're just gonna continue doing what we're doing." So that was pretty cool on Discord's part. It's very hard to say. I think it was 10 billion for was the
Yeah,
offer that.
that sounds right.
Yeah, which is a lot of money to say no to. So Discord clearly thinks that they can do a lot better than 10 billion, and maybe they can. Discord is still holding strong as the top voice option when it comes to gaming, and even beyond that, they're even offering things for schools and just in general. They're trying to just compete with all other voice options out there, which is great. Another thing that I think definitely worth to mention that we missed is Elden Ring.
Definitely was one of the biggest releases and my first Soulsborne game, which was fantastic.
Yeah. Elden Ring came out during the hiatus and it was a beautiful, beautiful game. I didn't know what to expect going into it. It too was my first Soulsborne game, and all I can say was that I loved every bit of it. Definitely growing pains, definitely bit of a learning curve. I had no idea, how important dodging was, jumping. I didn't know how to build, like how to add proper armor and weapons and rotate. There's a lot that goes into a game like Elden Ring. And I never played a game like it. I've always watched from the distance, and I'm like, that seems too difficult to get into. But Elden Ring, I don't know what it was when it came out. I jumped into it, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. And ever since it came out, it's been on the news many, many months. It broke records.
All the
Um,
records.
yeah,
Seriously.
yeah, it's a fantastic game. So I mean, I doubt this is the first place you heard of Elden Ring, but if you have been on the fence about playing it, I hope that we can sway you onto the other side of the fence where you give it a try. It's such a good game, and if it's your first Dark Souls kind of game, there, just I say it's worth a shot. The story is beautiful. It's unique in the sense that there's not much, how do I say, lore thrown at you. You kind of have to dig for it, if that makes any sense.
You do. The cutscenes that they do have are great, but they are limited for sure. I'm with Tortuga on this one. Everything about Dark Souls, the everyone's appeal that I've ever spoken to was, "Oh, this game is super hard. I love it." Like, I really don't want to play something that's gonna frustrate me like that. So that's definitely not for me for sure. But like Tortuga, I actually got it around my birthday, so probably about a month after the release date, and I still haven't beaten it, but I am having so much fun with it.
Yeah, I haven't been that either. It's a very difficult game. Like I said, it doesn't do a good job at holding your hand and telling you where to go next. You kind of have to figure it all out on your own. Obviously, there's walkthroughs now online, but when the game first came out, there was just a huge gaggle. And I loved it. And the other thing that I loved about it was when people were discovering new things as a community and they were able to add to the world lore, kind of like, oh, by the way, in case you didn't know if you haven't played the game, the world lore is split up into multiple things. You can find notes, but the majority of it is written within all of the armor or weapons or tools and things like that, where it gives a small description of where it came from, who used it, what part did it play during a certain part in the world timeline, and things like that. And people would piece it together. And there's a lot of hidden items that would explain something that's been a mystery, and somebody would find it and post it on Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, what have you, and all of a sudden it would just change what were once theories to confirm into something, and it would just open new avenues of, okay, but why did XYZ happen? I don't know, it's just a fantastic approach. I've never seen anything like it, and I very much enjoy it. And I really thank the Reddit community, the Twitter community, for kind of throwing that at me, because I would not figure any of that out. Very, very little would have been found by myself. So all the lore that I did discover and enjoyed was very much through those communities.
Yeah, I have to agree. One of my favorite things to come out of the Reddit communities is actually the guy who's fighting the bosses. Let me solo her.
Let me solo her. Yeah.
So for those
he
who
got
don't
a
know,
sword.
He got like an actual sword from them.
Yeah,
Assuming it's the one that he was using.
Yeah. So basically, there's a boss in the game. Starts with an M, as does every
Melania.
boss. Yeah. Which, by the way, every boss in there has George R. R. Martin's initials. I don't know if you knew that. So that, I don't know.
What?
There was like every single boss. Think of it. Every single boss has either G, R, or M. All of them.
Godfrey, Melania. Oh my god. Okay. All right. All right.
Yep. So no one knows what that's about. George R. R. Martin said that just happened, by happenstance, but no one believes him. I don't believe him.
I do, because there's a lot. The whole big thing that kind of brought everyone's attention was that he was bringing his fantasy knowledge to the Elden Ring world, but it came out soon after that he just did like the base world, and then the creative director, I think it was one of the head writers, did everything else. So in reality, George R. R. Martin had very little to do with the Elden Ring lore, other than like
That's
maybe
interesting.
the land. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. And maybe it was a tribute to George R. R. Martin then that they did that.
I can see that.
But again, I haven't seen any confirmation of why it was that way. But anyways, so Let Me Solo Her was fighting one of the hardest bosses in the game, if not the hardest, I would say. And within Elden Ring, if you haven't played it, you have the ability to kind of co-op. Essentially, you can summon another player who's willing to help fight that same boss. Mm-hmm. And then once you complete that boss, they'll stay with you until you finish that. But once the boss is killed, that's the end of it. Let Me Solo Her would essentially queue up at this very difficult boss, and if you got him on your server in your world, that was exactly what it meant. Go take a corner, take a breather, don't die, and he'll solo the boss for you. So he did that for about, I want to say, 2,000 hours. And the creators of Elden Ring, the creators of Elden Ring recognized this and sent him the sword that Melania uses, whatever her name is. Names are hard. A replica of that sword with, I think his gamer tag is etched on there. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, no, it's honestly hilarious. It's one of the bigger feel good things about gaming this year. Like, it's just that cooperative spirit, and then the funniest thing about this, if you get a chance to look it up, is that he wore, I think it was like a jar for a helmet, and he was basically naked for everything else.
Yep. And that's a meme within, the Dark Souls, the Souls realm. The less armor he wears, the more dangerous he is.
that's pretty funny.
But yeah, so I definitely wanted to bring some attention to Elden Ring that we missed during the hiatus. I don't know if anything else major happened. I know Pokemon Arceus came out. That was, I was looking at that. I haven't played it, but from what I've seen, it's nice. It looks like Breath of the Wild with Pokemon.
Yeah,
Any
yeah, it's
other
pretty cool.
mentions?
Honestly, not really. I can't really think of anything that's
Elden
popped up
Ring
like
still the
that.
show.
Elden Ring did steal the show. I mean, we have a couple of PlayStation ports come to Steam, which was very surprising, seeing how they love their exclusivity. There's
Yep.
also um, news about more shortages for PS5.
All right.
Yeah, like the PS5, apparently everywhere except the United States is raising its core price. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, and I'm assuming it has to do with the holiday season. We're probably one of the biggest
Yep.
purchasers of that. But we do also have God of War sequel coming out, and I'm pretty sure God of War and Elden Ring are the only two contenders for Game of the Year.
It has to be Elden Ring. I can't see Game of the Year going to anyone else. There will be an uproar if Elden Ring does not win Game of the Year. There's no way. I just can't see it.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Um, there's also there's Stray came out, double A game,
Ah,
which was
huge
fun to
disappointment in my
watch.
part.
Yeah, it was for me too. I thought it was going to be something completely different.
Completely different. Yeah. Yeah. It's so from left field. I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but let's just say that it's not what we initially thought it was. You do get to play as a cat, but just not that in the realm of cat play that I was expecting. I don't know. It's hard
Well,
to
I,
explain.
I was expecting doing cat shenanigans
Yes.
in a robot world, and it is not that at all.
Which you do to an extent, but it evolves into something beyond what I was expecting. It's I don't know. I don't want to dissuade anyone if it's something up there. A lot of people enjoyed it, and I think
It was
the game
beautiful.
was beautiful. Yeah, it's just not the storyline that I thought we were going to receive. But maybe they'll make something like that now that there's a blueprint, so to speak, of a cat like game.
For real. It doesn't have to be as um out of this world as like Goat Simulator or anything like that, but something I would enjoy playing as a cat just to get into the heads of my cats. They're a bunch of jerks.
Another thing that happened during the hiatus, the shortage and the scalping prices for GPUs dropped significantly.
Yes. Oh
Dude,
my
yeah,
god, yes.
it came about because the economy started doing poorly, which meant that Bitcoin and all those cryptocurrencies started doing poorly because they're kind of tied together. And once they started performing horribly, I want to say since November, it's lost about 90% from its peak or something like that. Ridiculous number, ridiculously high. The need for graphics cards dropped by these coin miners, right? Nobody was buying them, which meant that they weren't receiving as much money as they once were. So the need for graphics cards kind of went down, which meant that the pricing normalized. And I mean, it became ridiculous. A 3090 Ti used to run almost between $3,500 to $5,000. I saw it going for close to 1,600 the other day. Ridiculous, under MSRP.
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm glad these scalpers are getting they're just desserts because it was an atrocious time in just gaming in general. Not only
Yeah,
from the graphics cards perspective, but even the consoles. The Xbox
yeah.
Series X and the PS5 are
We also
easier to get now, but still in the
yeah.
same boat.
We also had a chip shortage as well during the hiatus, which made everything that was technology go up in price. So things are normalizing now, which is great. You can get many deals on graphics cards. There's going to be the 4K series now, NVIDIA. announced. So once more specs come about with that, we'll definitely be able to talk about. But they did announce that the 4K series is coming out soon.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I actually saw something that USB 4.0 is on its way.
Ooh,
And yeah, and I'm trying to find my note somewhere here. I think they were boasting like 80 gigs
okay, so
transfer.
double what USB 3 can do.
Yeah, I want to say that's what I saw. So that's kind of exciting. I want to see what kind of the peripherals will do with that. Um,
Hmm.
from anything, for if you're importing like your camera stuff or the new series of external hard drives or SSDs, and see where we're gonna go with that.
It's true. Yeah.
Um, we've talked a lot about different mediums from video games making the transition to either TV shows or movies, and it almost never has been like the greatest experience, and it usually led down the road of disappointment. I will say I saw Sonic 1 and 2 during this year,
Yep.
and I enjoyed them very, very much. I think it's a positive direction for gaming in that medium. 2, I think, was better, as they kind of introduced Knuckles in there. But
Yeah.
something for Tortuga here, um, Arcane actually became the first gaming show to win an Emmy.
That's amazing. Yeah, League. Riot did an amazing job with Arcane. I think it was beautifully done. I forgot that came out also during the hiatus. I can't say anything bad about Arcane. There was just a lot of lore. Obviously, it was done correctly. It gave insight to a lot of characters, with their origin stories that was never really talked about much. No one understood how Vi and Jinx were sisters, and that was explained, and I thought that was great. It's I don't know. I enjoyed all of it. If you haven't seen Arcane, definitely check it out. Well worth the watch. I know for a fact that it hasn't been announced yet, but more seasons will come soon to expand on that. Definitely well worth the watch.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, it's unprecedented because there are a lot of major shows out there. It beat out Bob's Burgers, The Simpsons, Rick and Morty, which I'm a very big fan of, and even Marvel's new What If show. It takes
Yeah,
like
it's the
alternate
music.
realities. The arcade
Yeah,
music, you think? But
yeah.
here's the
Arcane did
thing:
such a good job with it, with the
the actual
story, with the
award,
music.
right? The
Go
actual
for it.
award was for outstanding animated program. So we're talking that is no small feat at all.
I mean, it's beautiful. Definitely unique in its own right. It gave me Ghost in Shell, kind of vibes. I don't know, but I mean, it was great animation for sure.
Yeah, so I'm just glad it worked out because, like I said, there's not a lot of great mediums, so I'm glad we're heading in that direction where it's at least a possibility if we have shows starting to win awards, based on
Yep.
video games.
Yeah, I mean, Riot put money in every pot they could the last couple years. They're on everything, and if I remember correctly, League of Legends is supposed to make its way to console soon.
It is along with Valorant. So there's a lot of Riot games that are PC exclusive, essentially, that are making its way to. I want to say it's Xbox only at this time,
Sure.
mainly through that Xbox initiative. But very curious to see. Um, more recent news. I can't believe Ubisoft did this, but we are. They actually got me excited about Assassin's Creed again.
Oh, so their
So
2 year break worked, huh? Because that was the whole point.
I
They
guess so.
they were
That
announcing Assassin's Creed every 3 weeks for the last 15 years, and it's
yeah,
like
they were
we
taking
needed a break.
the Call of Duty
The
approach.
Call of Duty
Uh,
approach.
so we have two games, well, three, but one of them's a mobile game, so we're not really gonna look at that. We
Thanks.
have the official announcement of Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is gonna take place around the Altair era. I
Yeah,
want
it's
to say,
basically Assassin's Creed's one remake,
yeah,
100%.
That's what it feels like. It's closer in timeline to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but it's far from there, right? Because that was like in England. This is going back to like um, Masyaf or around there. So that's really excited. And then they also gave a teaser, which I can't believe it took this long for Assassin's Creed Japan, essentially.
Yeah.
So,
I
but
mean,
that one is still like 2 years down the line.
I can understand the delay on that because I mean Japanese culture, you don't want to mess that up. There's so many people who study it, who love it, who embrace it. It's not one of those things that you really want to mess up. Not to say that no one enjoys Vikings and or what else was there. There was Origins, which was in France,
The
but
Greeks.
yeah, it's I don't know, something about messing up Japanese lore and culture. I feel like it can be the end of Assassin's Creed if they ruin that somehow.
No, I get it, but I mean, even if you think about their biggest bomb, which was Unity in France, um, that was they put so much detail in that, and that's several years old now, and they used that to rebuild the Notre Dame after that fire
Yeah, I
because it
remember
was
that.
so detailed. So I feel like that is not a great excuse for it. I can see how it can be, how it can make them wary for sure, but I still don't think it's. I don't think that lack of knowledge because obviously they've been doing their homework.
Yeah, it's not the lack of knowledge. It's the delivery, right? I'm pretty sure they don't want to mess that up. Because I can see it going south real fast.
That will go south very fast. That'll be literally the end of that bloodline right there.
Yeah, 100%. One thing that I would look forward to, because for the most part, you usually play a present day character who then goes into a machine and relives, a memory within their DNA of a past life, kind of essentially, sort of, or an ancestor, I guess is more accurate. Um, it would be interesting to see how they do the jump because there's a lot to offer in Japan, like present day, especially if they do Tokyo, right? There's technology there that we don't even see here in the States. So it's just one of those things that it would be interesting to see how they incorporate that kind of transition between modern day and then uh, excuse me, feudal Japan or what have you, whatever route they're going to go. And the question is, I mean, do we get to be a ninja?
That's what it's looking like.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to
it
samurai
sounds
now.
sounds fantastical. I mean, the samurai route would also be amazing, but it's yeah, I'm hyped for it. But Mirage, by the way, looked amazing from the trailer alone. It was the trailer. I did see some in-game mechanics within the trailer, but it really felt like just an upgraded version of the first Assassin's Creed, which started the whole chain.
Which is what they were actually going for. They really wanted to bring it back to its single player story roots. Because I tell you, I couldn't even finish Odyssey, which is the Greek one, because there was just so many side things to do that it convoluted everything within the story.
Gotcha.
And people loved it, but it was just too much, too bloated.
Also, to note, I think they said that Red, which is going to be the Japanese Assassin's Creed, is supposed to be open world, like
Interesting.
their most open world that they've made thus far. So I don't know if that
Okay.
changes your perspective of it. So we'll see how that pans out. 2 years, they can definitely change the design.
It's not even the size, it's more the content. Just like there were side missions that you would do that would just keep respawning like the same old
Ah,
mission,
yeah,
just to bloat it with content.
yeah. No, that's never fun.
Um, and in additional news, our favorite thing to love and troll on, Cyberpunk 2077, yay!
God, let it die.
There's some big changes. They've been doing some updates. Some of the biggest things that they added or planning to add soon is a transmog. They're doing some transmog in there. They're overhauling the police and how they react. And most notably is that there's an upcoming expansion, full DLC expansion, which I'm very curious to see how that's going to work out, because of the canon ending at the moment. So we'll see how that goes. I was actually talking to Neon Cyber Samurai, and we were just kind of picking each other's brain on how it's going to be, since we were both so excited for the game. But I'm still very hesitant. It is going to be free, so I might check it out just to see what they plan to do, because it's a fun world. And then additionally, they added a major a red mod tool. So basically, it's just a modding tool, they labeled red mod, which is able to work alongside Nexus mods. So any existing mods won't be affected, but it'll be easier to create and download mods with this new tool.
Okay. I mean, I'm never turn that game back on. I uninstalled it as soon as I beat it. It's just gonna have that place in my heart of games that disappointed me. Low bar, low bar. If you can do better than Cyberpunk, you're doing great.
Crying. Additionally, I don't know what's going on with this dev, but the just a couple weeks after announcing the release date for Atomic Hearts, I don't know if you remember that one.
Nope.
It's the Soviet version of BioShock, which is, I think, what inspired you. So they gave it a completely full release date, and then like 2 weeks later, they said, no, scratch that, and just put it'll come soon, or this winter.
Interesting.
So that was very interesting. I'm actually kind of excited because the BioShock has been so quiet in the past couple of years after the last game. So this will kind of scratch that itch. I mean, that's the best explanation. It's BioShock in the Soviet era.
Yeah, I remember now. Once you mentioned it, it did look unique enough to give it at least one playthrough. But yeah, swinging it back to Ubisoft real quick. They finally announced a release date for Skull and Bones, a game that I thought was never going to come out because they stopped talking about it for a hot minute. But it's going to come out November 8th, relatively soon.
They did, yeah, they did. I hope they didn't overhaul it too much, because I think the boating in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is basically where Skull and Bones came from, I really hope that it doesn't change too much. I'm sure they found a way to monetize it, yada yada, all that good stuff. But I just hope they didn't change the formula too much.
Yeah, I mean it's a game about boating and ships and explosions, so not for me. It's no what's the one that I like from Xbox? It's no Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves. Yeah.
Since we're on the Ubisoft train, I got something here for Tortuga. So as of I will say last month, we're here in 2022. Beyond Good and Evil 2 has technically been in development for 15 years, which isn't a bad thing, but they've been kind of skimping out on the news a little bit. But last month, it was confirmed that they just got a new lead writer.
Okay. That's
That's
news, neither good or bad.
It is news. So it's causing a lot of confusion, because it's like, why do they need a new lead writer? Like, was it so bad? Are they starting the script over? Are they just expanding on what was there? It is still a bit of a mystery, but it is the closest thing to vital signs for this game that we've had in a long time.
That's a good way of putting it.
So, again, the big question is, like, does it really matter? Even if that development or that story is being completely rebooted, like, what is ultimately the news here? And I think the news is that it still exists, and I think that's good enough right now.
Right. I mean, we'll take what we can get. I feel like without constant news, the hype for it has obviously died down a lot, but there's still a lot of people that are expecting it. They put in a lot of work to get the background for it. Remember, they started that project where any content creator can upload to a specific website. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but essentially you can upload music, you can upload art, and the ones that get voted fan favorites, community favorites, will get added into the game. And things like that. So, and that website is still live and still taking in things. There's some pretty interesting music, I would say. Put that in air quotes. But yeah, it's. I feel like it's gonna be a lot. They're gonna deliver a lot once that game comes out. It's gonna be one of those games that once it's there, it'll be baseline, and then it's just gonna be nonstop DLC to keep the game alive moving forward. So hopefully, we get that at least within the next 2 years. I feel like I'm not asking for too much. 24 months.
Yeah, it is not, but I think you're probably going to want to push that back just a little bit because of all the delays that we saw because of the pandemic. So I'm
Yeah,
honestly
well,
thinking probably 24 or 25.
that's no longer a real excuse. If you haven't figured out how to operate during the pandemic, you're doing something incredibly wrong.
Yeah, well, welcome to gaming. Um, some additional news. We spoke about Blizzard a little bit before the podcast started, right? Just talking about World of Warcraft. Bringing it back to Overwatch, specifically Overwatch 2. They made a little decision that is not sitting too well with their fan base. So for those who don't know, right, Overwatch is getting a sequel, Overwatch 2. I want to say it's in October, November, around there. And
Sequel is a strong word, but yeah, go
sequel
ahead.
is definitely a strong word, as I have noted several times. But the main thing that you'll be able to bring all the characters from the original, all your skins, all your unlocks will carry with you to Overwatch 2. And based on this new news, I think we've confirmed that the whole reason they're doing this is to monetize the game even further.
Of course.
Any new Overwatch 2 heroes can only be unlocked by paying for them outright or unlocking them through the battle pass that they're
I'm sorry.
initiating.
What?
Yes. So all new heroes will no longer be free. You either have to pay for them or you have to unlock them by doing the whole battle pass shenanigans. It's confirmed
Yeah.
as of a couple days ago.
This is where we, the gamers, need to come together and not support that crap. If
Yep.
we don't pay them for those quote unquote new heroes, but obviously people are going to pay to win. But if enough people, if they
Always.
don't see the money that they're expecting, they're going to revert back to treating gamers correctly. That's a ridiculous move. Getting very strong EA Darth Vader vibes. Yep. So not thrilled one bit with that.
Not at all. I mean, put this scenario, right? So you're playing. How many times do you like switch heroes mid match? Hey,
Right.
switch to Alpha. He'd be perfect for this. Like, I haven't unlocked him, so I don't have that.
No.
Um,
No, it's a horrible design, especially for a game like Overwatch. Like you said, part of the mechanic is switching your character mid game to kind of
right.
adjust for the enemy team and for whatever your team may be lacking or needing. It's a huge core to the Overwatch gameplay in general. It's a bad move. Blizzard, it's a bad move.
That's a horrendous move. And then on top of that, watching the two betas that people were able to stream, well, mainly the top streamers, it seems like they were taking that emphasis off team game. It honestly felt like it was every man for himself. And I want to say they moved to 5v5. But it did not feel like as good as Overwatch did, at
Mm-hmm.
launch. Um, so we'll see, I guess, but it is slated for an October 4th release, which again, as soon as Overwatch 2 launches, Overwatch 1 will be completely delisted and be unable to play because they want everyone on Overwatch 2.
So to be clear, you can't even play the game once Overwatch 2 comes out unless you purchase it for $60.
Yeah, you have to buy Overwatch 2 if you want to play Overwatch in any capacity.
Insane. It's a bold play. Let's see if it if it pans out.
It's a bold move time.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize that they dug that grave that deep. But all right, we'll see. I mean, maybe they just because Blizzard have for a long time figured out the formula for raking in money, and they were doing very well. It never seemed like they were gouging at the gamers or the community for their coin, but they've been doing pretty bad on a lot of sales. So I guess that they're desperate, but I feel like this is not the way to move forward. But that's just one opinion.
No, I hear you because I mean their monetization of Overwatch 1 was the loot boxes, and then when
Right.
they added that Overwatch League for the exclusive skins, and that felt okay. You know, I mean it was still a full price game, but they still have to find a way to fund it. You know, for all
Right.
the updates and characters and maps and everything. I understood that. I'm not too crazy about microtransactions myself, being an old gamer, but I understood it. But
Right.
this new model just feels predatory.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens. We'll see how the community claps back because I'm pretty sure that they will. I
Yeah,
just don't see that just being accepted. I don't.
yeah,
But
I'm right there with you. And I honestly don't think a lot of people know about it. To be honest,
I, I,
in continuing the vibes of companies doing the absolute worst thing they can for their
Cyberpunk
consumers.
2 on its
Okay.
no.
All right. Relax. 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 Twitch, our good old buddies at Twitch, they are removing the host mode, and it's unclear why.
What the hell is
Um,
the host mode?
so it's let's say if you and I actually had followers on there, consistent.
Bruh.
Let's say if I'm offline, I can host you, so my viewers and my followers can see your
Oh,
stream.
sorry. Twitch. When you said Twitch, I heard Twitter. My brain. Anyways, yes, I remember Twitch host mode, all that fun stuff. All right, carry on.
They are completely removing it as a feature, and for no reason. There's
Are
there's
they
no
Are they keeping the part where you can create a list of people that automatically shows up, like you auto host? Essentially, is that
no, that's being gone as well. It's anything to do
wow?
with host mode, just
What
completely gone.
about the squads that you create? Man, they're killing that too. Because I know if you follow a squad, you can basically it auto hosts. You're not as following a channel; you're following a group. If that makes sense. But I mean, it sounds like they're killing it off, which I don't understand why they would do that. It kills the community part of Twitch, which a lot of people go to Twitch for. So, yeah, like you said, bold move.
It is a bold move. The way that it's being panned out is like the hosting will now be changed to suggested channels, and I think it's going to
Mm,
be more algorithm based, which
ah,
yeah.
I need more hot tubs. Yep, I need more hot
Well,
tubs.
yeah, I don't know if you knew this or if you saw the news, but I want to say like a couple months ago, they basically added the option where you could pay to put yourself like at the top of like the suggested channels on the homepage.
Ooh, no, I didn't hear that, but
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised it took them long enough.
Yeah, so I forgot how it was implemented. I saw it vaguely. I think you can put yourself up there for like an hour for X amount of money or something like that.
Wow,
But basically, instead of being like the most viewed that usually gets up there, you can just put yourself as like a promoted streamer.
right. Well, I
So
mean, if you have the money to do it, when you're starting out, you basically do whatever you can to get more than 5 views, and then you go for more than 10, 50, 100, what have you. So I don't think that's too bad. You're paying for a service. You're trying to make it as a content creator, and Twitch is that's what the platform is designed for. So that at least falls in line with what they're designed or what they were giving.
right,
Removing hosts, I feel like that's a core part of community building because when you have your team, like you said, we would have a two guys, one level squad or group or whatever it's called on Twitch. And I got offline, but you kept going. I can just throw that over your way. It kept the community going. It kept the engagement going. It's a bad move from Twitch because once you kill the stream, maybe auto hosting or pushing it forward kept people engaged, but now they're not even going to bother searching for someone else to watch because
right.
work.
And And this is absolutely different from rating someone, right? So that requires active participation from the streamer who's about to end their stream, where they can promote one specific person, and all the viewers can go there. So yeah, it's definitely a bad move. And Twitch has been not getting the greatest attention this past year from numerous amount of things um, from hate raiders has been a big one. There's a lot of people who were essentially raiding all these various streamers with a whole bunch of negative slurs. And last thing before we kind of cut off here, um, for anyone who's been following for a while knows that I've mentioned the indie game, The Wandering Village. Kind of like a city sim on this super cool monster. Actually gets a an early access release later this week on September 14th. So be sure to check that out if you like those. And I know I will.
Very cool. The only thing that I have, which caught me off guard, the last thing. Are you familiar with the anime JoJo Bizarre Adventure?
I am. I actually just talked about it with an old friend last night that I could not get into it at all.
That's fine. It's not for everyone. It definitely requires a specific taste in entertainment. But that said, there is going to be a JoJo Bizarre Adventure fighting game that's going to be coming out in the near future. So I found that to be interesting. So I just wanted to make a note there. I do enjoy the anime, so I figured why not bring this up. But yeah, I have nothing else. Was that it for you, Pixel?
Yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Actually, one minor thing. In case anyone is interested in all the ports coming, there is a pretty big inkling that the PS5 exclusive Returnal is getting a PC port. So that's
Nice.
it for me.
All right. All right, very cool. So I just want to thank everyone who made it this far for hanging out with us. Our first week of many, many weeks that's when I missed, but thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate all the support. As always, if you want to show us more support, the best way is to share this podcast with someone who you think would enjoy it. I will include links in the description to all our other things, YouTube, Patreon, and our Discord server. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, reach out to us on Twitter. We can go ahead and discuss any parts that you liked, disliked, or anything that you wish for us to talk about next time. So again, thank you all for listening.